Okay, so now we're going to do teddy bear sales part 2. We have our ordered pairs that we took from the table from the previous page. So now we're going to graph them. So here we have 0 and negative 1500. So we have 0, negative 1500. We have 50, and in here there's 30 to 60. So if you kind of like space 2 bars evenly, it becomes 30, 40, 50. So 50, negative 900. Then we go to 100. We have to make the spaces evenly between here. So this is 100 because 9 plus 10 is 100, 110, 120. So we're going to 100, and we're going to go to negative 300. So also what I like to do is 0, negative 1500. So you can see the numbers when I plot them. Okay, so then we're going to go to 150, and we're going to go to 300. What I like about this one, it's on the line. Then we have 200, which again is 190, 200. So 200 would be right about here. And then we're going to go up to 900. So 200, 900. And then we're going to go 250. Again, we make the 2 little dashes. 250 goes to 1500. Goes right about there. So that's 250, 1500. And then we have 300 goes to 2100. 300, 2100. Okay. Now I'm going to use like my box here to draw a line. So I'll try and do it as neatly as I can. Okay. There we go. So now we have it graphed. Okay. Does all the points appear in the first quadrant? So we know this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So we see coordinate points in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. So do all the points appear in quadrant 1? No. Other coordinate points appear in quadrant 4. Okay? Then let's move it up. As you move along the line from left to right, does the line increase or decrease? So we start negative, the negative side, and it goes up to the positive side. So we go from a point plotted at negative 1500 all the way to 2100. So as we move along the line from left to right, the line increases. Okay? Now you can stop and pause if you need to. All right? So let's see, we are on the last problem, last page. Where does the line intercept on the y-axis? Now this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. So when it intercepts, when the y intercepts at the 0, so we know that 0 is x here, and it intercepts at negative 1500. So we are going to write, where does the line intercepts the y-axis at negative 1500. And what does this tell us? So I like to use change over y is change over x. And if we know that the change in y is 1500 and the change in x is 0, so what this tells us, and when we have sold 0 teddy bears, our net profit is negative $1,500. Okay? That means that this is we're at our starting point. Okay? This is our starting point. Okay? And where does the line intercept on the x-axis? Let's see. Around 125, I'm going to say. So the line intercepts the x-axis at approximately, I'm going to abbreviate, 125. What does this point tell you? Again, I like to choose the change of y over change of x. So what this is telling us, when the net profit is 0 and we have sold 125 teddy bears, so for every 125 bears sold, we will earn $0, or we consider this, we break even. So this is when you've sold enough bears to pay for all the shipping and the original cost of $1,500. Okay? And use the graph to make a better estimate of how many bears the club will need to make their goal of at least $1,000. So we're going to say approximately, when we look at the chart here, we want to make 1,000. Where is the chart? The chart is here. Or if we look here, if we want to make $1,000, we're going to go like about here. And that is going to bring us a little before this. So we're going to say about 209 if we look at the chart. Okay, so approximately 209. And that's what we're going to check. Approximately 209 bears sold. All right, so now we're going to do the equation. Y equals 12x minus 1,500. And this is similar to the fx equation that we used to use. Okay. Now the coefficient 12, what does that mean? If we go back to the original page, we know that they plan to sell the bears for $12 each. So the coefficient of 12, is the amount of money each bear will be sold for. Okay, so again, we went back and we read the first paragraph of the teddy bear sale to help us. Then the constant term is minus 1,500. Again, we go back and they pay $1,500 for the shipment of 300 bears. So that's the original cost. So the constant term minus 1,500 represents the original cost of buying the bears and having them shipped. So this is the original cost. This is the original cost. Okay? Now, use the equation to find the number of bears the couple need to make their goal of at least 1,000. So, if we want to know if they need to make their goal of at least 1,000, okay, so what we need to know is, so if we want at least 1,000, we have to, the net profit is Y. So Y equals 12x minus 1,500. So we want to make at least 1,000. So we're going to, the net profit, we're going to insert 1,000 for the Y, 12x minus 1,500. Now we just have to solve it like an equation. So we add 1,500 to both sides to get rid of the 1,500. So this becomes 2,500 equals 12x. Now I'm going to move this over here so I have a little bit more room. So we have 2,500 equals 12x. Now we have to divide both sides by 12. And so 2,500 divided by 12 is 208.3, repeating, equals x. So we can't sell part of a teddy bear, so it has to be more than 208. So we're going to say 209 need to be sold. Okay? Which, if you look up here, is pretty much what we saw in the graph. So use the equation to find the profit if they sell 180 bears. So Y equals 12x minus 1,500. So Y equals 12 times 180 minus 1,500. So if we do the math, Y equals 12 times 180 is 2160 minus 1,500. So Y equals 660. So what this means, in words, if 180 bears are sold, the net profit will be $660. Okay? Thanks for listening. And remember, go back if you need to move this. And if you have any questions, please ask.